to die. Call your mother and your father to let them know that you're dead. What the hell they should do? Say your prayers and beg for forgiveness. The reaper is rising and you're on the checklist. You can run but you cannot hide. Your ending was closer and death is on your side. Your decision, your life has made it hard for you to survive. Count your chickens, accept your losses. You are the reason for the nails in your coffin. Shame, shame, I know your name. Today on Podcast Rock City Live, I think we got a good one for you. So let's sit back, grab our popcorn, get our sodies or our beers, and let's get ready let's get ready to rumble.
Podcast Rock City.
What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and you can see I'm all alone. I am live right now. Everybody else recorded our show the other day. That's how we were able to tell you that it happened. Thank you for being here. Before I get started, I want to tell you guys a couple of things. One, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the little bell. It'll let you know when we upload things. Here's the other thing. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up button. Any of that will help Podcast Rock City go up, our show get put out there a little further so other people and new people can see it. 400 shows. We've done 400 shows now. You know we did more than that. I don't know really how many shows we've done. It's probably like 410. But this is 400. We tried to do this right before Christmas. We had it all worked out, and we were going to record it, edit it, upload it for Christmas Eve. This way on Christmas Eve, while you guys are all sitting back and enjoying your Christmas Eve cookies or whatever is it that you do, you'd be able to listen to our show or watch our show, whichever. And Doc Mcghee got busy, so it didn't work out. So I want to kind of get to it, but I want to do a couple of things first. I want to thank everybody that's ever worked on this show. Andrew Kiss, Jody Havnot, Sonny Pooney, Joey Casada, Lee, Brent, Dave, my buddy Dave, my buddy Luke, Trey Hunsucker, everybody over 9 years so far has contributed to putting this show out. They some of them started and couldn't continue. I'm always going to be here. I love doing this and seeing you guys every week. It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to continue doing that. Now, that being said, make sure anytime you see something that we're doing, try to share it. It would be a lot of help if you could share it. All right. So I want to pull this up here. Hold on one second. Okay. And so basically I had another thing all put together for you guys, and this the site that we use, StreamYard, said that it was too big or powerful or something. I don't understand the lingo, but I've got it right here for you guys. I want you to sit back and enjoy it, talk about it. I'm going to be in the chat while you guys are. I'll do my best to keep up. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will tell you guys that Doc is awesome, super friendly, and he didn't ask us to edit a thing. So from the beginning to the end, you're going to see everything. All righty. So let's go ahead and let's get to the show. I hope you guys have a good time. I hope some questions get answered. There's no way to get them all answered, but I hope some do. And we'll see you at the end of this. What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City. This is our 400th episode, kinda, sorta. We've been trying to record this one. We were gonna do it over Christmas, and it's Christmas, so we wanted to do something special with you for you guys. So Joey pulled some strings and worked some things out, and we got Doc Mcghee here. Doc, how you doing?
Woo-hoo. Fantastic. How are you?
We're great. And then Joey brought a friend. Tell everybody who you brought.
I got my boy Steve Brown here from TRIXTER. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, what's happening? Great to finally be allowed on your show. Thanks for having me.
We'll give you your own show at some point.
Absolutely. It's so great to have you guys here. Listen, let's just go ahead, and I wanted we wanted to do something special. We're really glad that you guys are here. We got some questions, and Doc, I'm going to jump right into it.
Sure. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So, the question I get when I talk with my friends about KISS the most is, where do you think the last show is going to be? And that kind of stuff. So you guys, by now you have a site, right?
Yeah, right now we do. It'll be finalized in the next few days, and we'll be making an announcement probably in the next 10 days.
Okay. So here's the question that I get even more than that. Will everybody that wants to come be able to fit in the area that you're putting it?
Probably not.
Oh,
really?
But we will be. There'll be enough shows because we're going to be doing some shows for everybody. One thing about KISS, the reason why, we've always been that band that went to places where most bands didn't go. So we play everybody's town. So, up in Canada, we played Dawson Creek at milepost number 1 on the Alaskan Highway to Rimouski to, you name it, we played there. So we always go where the people are anyways. And so the reason why we're continuing doing this last one is because obviously the pandemic that stopped us from finishing, and the fact that people just wanted to see us. But we had to end it at some time, which will be this year.
Okay, so definitely this is the last year for the end of the road tour. Sonny?
Yeah, Doc, we're interested in some of the business stuff, right? So, like, one of the questions we had is there like a KISS conference call every week, or is like Gene calling you 6 times a day with crazy ideas, or do you tell him, hey, can you just like put that somewhere and we talk once a week?
No, it's all the above. So it's all of them, Gene and Paul and Tommy and Eric and everybody, we talk, 3-4 times a week. I talk to Gene or Paul probably every day or every other day. There's never short of ideas that are thrown around, especially with KISS. And so, and it's just kind of getting it all together as we have done over the past 27 or 28 years that I've been doing this with them, and trying to make it bigger and better every time. That's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you mentioned being with them 27, 28 years. So obviously they were already in the business for many, many, many years. So you come on board. Do they give you a bunch of rules? You ain't doing this. You ain't doing this. You ain't doing that. Like,
I'm not sure I'm good with the rules. No, I actually, what's really great is Gene and Paul have been great partners in the sense that they know what I do and I know what they do, and they know that they've seen it for 27, 28 years of taking it to the next level every time, and so they just look forward to what's coming next. That's pretty much the way it is every day. They have ideas and they do a lot of thinking and a lot of kind of searching out what they want to do in certain areas. But it really, on the KISS front, it's pretty straight ahead forward. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, and you make it as big as possible every time you do something. So it really, unless you know, like I always say, if you're going to run with the big dogs, you can't piss like a puppy. Okay, so
I like that's a T-shirt.
So that's
a keeper.
always been kind of what we do. So we try to be out there and do like I said, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So
that's perfect.
Joey.
Hey Doc, how are you, man?
What's happening, Joey?
Good to see you again. I don't know if you remember. So my band's DO2. We recorded with KISS.
Yeah, that's just in 04.
04, yeah, we did the Rock the Nation with Poison.
That's
right. Time of Our Lives, of course.
I like that band. That was a good band. I like that band.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, we had the best time of our lives. Thanks for having us. It was so much fun. If you remember, KISS was doing the instant live back then. You remember those?
Yes, we have them all. Yeah.
So those were so great. I get so many people talking to me about those instant lives, about how not only great they sounded, the band sounded, how the set list was changing every night and all that stuff. You guys, I know you're doing the off the soundboard recordings now. Ever think about going back to something like instant live, or even after all these years, have you been recording stuff like the instant live and just not releasing it?
We record every night.
Yeah.
So we have every show that we've ever done that I've been involved with anyways. And, KISS has never been shy about putting stuff out. Okay. So we have it, but we like to put it out at the right times. So I'm sure over well past when I'm around, there'll be things coming out on KISS that you've never heard. Yes. So yes, those will make it to your house at some point.
Awesome.
Good to know. Stevie, what do you got?
Doc, as always, great to see you. First off, how are Gene and Paul doing? Are they excited for the end of the road, for this tour to finally end? Or is it definitely, I can't imagine what the emotions that you're all going through, but I mean, Gene and Paul, because as we know, Gene, I don't think he knows anything else but, putting on the war paint and rocking and rolling all night and partying every day. So just your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, as you get older and as many years, 50 years we've been doing it, we stay up less late at night and we party less every day.
part of the day.
But on the other hand, it's a little bit like, Brady and everybody in sports and all that kind of stuff. At some point, you have to say, I don't want to limp in and I don't want to, I don't want to be that band that people go, oh, fuck, I wish they would have, stopped this thing last year or 2 years ago or, something like that. So we thought on the 50 years that KISS would be the best way for Gene and Paul to listen. We have a thing called QTR, which is called quality time remaining. Okay. None of us are going to get out of this alive. All right. So we all want to spend time with our families and our friends and have a quality of time, which we all do now. But as you get older, you want to spend a little bit more time in different areas than what you were, but you really want to leave KISS at that high note. And I think that's where we're at today. So yes, do they never want to quit? Nobody wants to quit. I don't want to quit. Okay. So, but there comes a time that everybody has to take that and say, this was amazing. That's it. And go on and do other things. Do whatever you want to do. But for KISS, as we know it, there will always be a KISS, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that KISS just doesn't go away. It's not like you go, okay, something will come up. There'll be technology. There'll be things that, between animation, between holographic avatars to, all the different things that are going to be coming in the future that we don't even know about. Okay. We'll revisit a lot of these artists that you can't see, that have gone away or have retired or passed away. Mm-hmm. And so all these things, and it's great to have a medium that you can actually do this and also have an audience that wants to see you. You know what I mean? It wants to hear things that happened to you and things that you did 20 years ago. And, you know what I mean? So all those things are, so I think we just kind of lived through KISS, you know, in that sense, instead of being out there ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Lee?
Doc, first of all, thank you for putting me in the front row during the farewell tour. I was the tall girl dressed as Jean.
There you go.
But anyway, my question isn't really KISS related, but I wondered how you liked your actor portrayal in The Dirt. Like, did you like that guy that played you, and did that stuff actually happen?
David is an amazing actor. You know, I mean, all the stuff that he's been in, from Breaking Bad to, you know, Billions to, I mean, so many movies that the guy's been in. You know, you always think that they don't portray you the way that it really was, okay? Because that's, you know it. But, you know, and when you watch the movie, it's not in the same timeline that it really happened, and things that happen out of context, and some things that didn't happen, and a lot of things that they didn't say that happened. They should have. And
like what?
well, there's a million of them. But you know, this isn't the Kennedy assassination. It's a rock film. What that film did do, whether you like the film as far as the quality of shooting and actors and all that kind of stuff, what it did do is to show the Generation X and the millennials a era that they will never see, that they will never ever be able to experience in the craziness and the decadence and the it was a great time.
I bet.
Right.
Great time in rock and roll for sure. And so I think that's more than anything, I think that's what that film brought out in people. You know, it showed them that, you know, they were unapologetic. It was Motley Crue, you know, and that's the way it was in the 80s, you know. So, but as far as David was concerned, I thought he did as good a job as he could, not really being there and understanding it.
Right.
Even though I never had a tattoo, but that's it.
I definitely think, Doc, that they portrayed you in the Scooby Doo movie as Chip Magoo, the best.
Yeah, you know, something that's funny because, like, you know, I'm at every show, so, and I talk to fans, and I go around and I talk to a lot of people because I want to see what they don't like about the show. I know they're going to love the show and they're going to say how exciting it is and all that, but I always ask them, what do you don't like about the show? Because we change stuff, you know, and we go by what people like and what they don't like. And so I'll see like a little kid, and I'll say to him, so your dad made you get dressed up and come to see KISS? And kid goes, shakes his head no, and his dad goes, no, he brought me. I had to come.
Oh.
I said, have you ever seen KISS? He goes, no, this is the first time I've seen KISS. And so I said, well, how did you know about KISS? And they go, KISS Scooby Doo. Wow. So I go, well, you know, I'm Chip Magoo. And the kid looks up at his dad like really disappointed. He goes, not Chip Magoo. Because, you know, kids watch this stuff like 100 times.
Right.
You know, they don't watch it like once, you know, they watch it like 100 times.
Absolutely.
So the kids were very disappointed to know that.
Okay, so my next question for you is something, of course, that a lot of people are curious about. For years now, we've been talking about the fabled KISS 2.0. And Paul Stanley, of course, has even recently said in an interview that he could see the band going on without him or Gene. Is this a conversation that you guys have every once in a while, or even now here you're coming towards the end? Is there, I mean, are you guys right now focused on just finishing this, or as business might go, you're looking past that, or well, this is the next step?
there's a lot of talk about everything. Okay. And nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. So what we've kind of put in our minds is, let's go through this like this is the end of KISS as we know it. Okay. And whatever comes our way with technology and everything else, we'll look at. Will it be Gene and Paul out there in makeup? No. I can tell you that. They're not gonna. They're hanging their hats up after the show, which is going to be very, very difficult and very emotional for them. You know, after 50 years of doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they love it. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of bands, most of my bands, you know, have a, you know, I hate this. I don't want to be out there anymore. You've been through all this, you know. I don't want to do this. This is bullshit. I'm not doing, you know. Anyways, that's not them. They love it. I mean, they thrive on it. We have a great time on the road. Oh, extremely good time on the road. So it's like, why are we ending this? You know, man, and we're ending this because this is the time to end it. Okay, this is it, the 50 years of KISS, and let them move on to their next phase, whatever they want to do. You know, whether it's Gene and business or having a country named after him, the Gene Simmons world. We don't know. However that works. And, you know, and Paul's got a family. He's got 3 kids. He actually has 4 kids, but he has 3 kids in the house. And so, you know, for us, we're just kind of open. People are throwing ideas around to us, and we'll look at it. But really, it has to be amazing. We don't fall for gimmicks as much as some people would think we're a gimmick, but we don't fall for them. We didn't do NFTs and we didn't do all that stuff because we didn't believe in it. We didn't believe that people were going to get anything out of it, and it wasn't going to be long lasting. And so I like to think years and years ahead. I don't like to think days ahead. So with that, we're going to go and finish this up and see what happens in the realm of the metaverse and the world of that type of things that can come back and people can experience things in different ways for KISS. And, you know, to me, KISS is more like Marvel. You know, it's kind of, there's all kinds of things that can happen with KISS and probably will. Okay. So it's a whole new frontier out there starting in 24. So
I'm so glad you brought up something like Marvel, Doc, because I always thought of the KISS in the same vein too. You know, Marvel, Disney, all these big companies, WWE, wrestling. Is that the next logical step? Is it something where, and again, maybe these conversations have been had already, but we always talk about, of course, the KISS catalog and the KISS visuals, and there's so many thousands of hours of amazing footage you guys probably have, and nothing's really coming out regularly. Is it something where after this is said and done, you go to a Disney or an Hulu, Amazon, you partner with one of these for streaming services or something like that to buy the KISS brand, license the KISS brand, and release, you know, all these thousands of hours of footage on some kind of streaming service rather than, because obviously, you know, DVDs, Blu-rays, all that stuff is in the past. The new stuff is streaming, of course, and streaming is content. So is it something where KISS has gotten offered that maybe before from one of these companies?
We entertain all kinds of conversations on this stuff, and I can tell you that yes, something's going to come up, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be something that you haven't seen before. It's not going to be something KISS has never just taken. If you look at, and you guys are all in bands. I mean, not all of you, but I mean, you've been in bands, and you understand. every band has some DNA of KISS in something that they do, whether it's production, whether it's, you know, theatrical or whatever they're doing. There's some DNA that falls into everybody's realm when it comes to KISS. Not by design. These were just 4 kids that got together that wanted to make the band that they wanted to go see. That's really what it was about. They didn't want to go see a band with T-shirts and blue jeans and stand there. They wanted to see something. They wanted to have substance, and they wanted to have it big and explosive, and, you know, the whole thing. And that's what KISS is. So I think that you're going to see that same thing ring true in the future for them. We don't know what it is right now. Every day something new comes up, and somebody has new technology or a new platform or whatever. But you can just bet that whatever it is, it'll be big. That's all.
Cool. Sonny?
Yeah. So, Doc, you're talking about, 26, 27 years. The good times are good.
Yeah.
I'm a believer that you learn the most and you become stronger when there's bad times. So can you remember like the last time it's like, oh man, I'm glad we overcame that because that was probably lower than the low. You remember those times?
You know something, you always have lows, but they're just, with KISS, one thing we don't do is we worry about tomorrow. We don't worry about what happened yesterday. Okay. If we focus too much on what happened, other than we watch what we do and we go, oh, well, that was crappy. And we fix that, which we've done that many times. But then we move right on. Okay. And we just try to look for the future. So really in the bad times, would it be like losing Ace and Peter? That was a terrible time for Gene and Paul. This is the second time that it happened to them, in their career. And whether you want to believe that Gene and Paul are these callous business guys that run this thing, they were devastated, both of them. Okay? You can't not be. Okay? These were 4 kids that came together. Very unlikely that any when I got them, when I put them back together again in 95 and 96, I mean, you would ask them a yes or no question, and I get 4 different answers. Okay, so it was like that. But then after 6, 7 years, okay, history repeated itself and it fell apart again, and that's why in '99 they wanted to quit, and I talked them out of quitting. Because they didn't want to continue without Ace and Peter. They truly didn't want to. They didn't think anybody would care without having the original band together. Because when we came back for the reunion tour, it was embraced by everybody. Okay, and so they just felt that was the key. It was the four people together. And as Paul said, there's no way that KISS could have ever become what they are today without Ace and Peter. Okay. But then again, we couldn't be here today with Ace and Peter.
Right.
Okay? It just didn't, it just ran its course. And then with Eric and Tommy, it was just a different dynamic. It was a little bit different, same sound, same intensity, great playing, fun to be around. It was just it was a whole different feeling than what we had gone through for a few years with the other bands. So yeah, those times were harder to convince, but to me, I never thought of them as people. I always had to keep in my mind that I had the Demon and Star Child and Spaceman and the Catman. Okay. And so therefore, to me, that was KISS. Those characters were KISS. And what's great about Gene and Paul and Ace and Peter too, and Tommy and Eric, is that they own those characters. When they go out on stage, that's who they are. They don't pretend, and they don't, that's who they are. They own it. Gene goes out there, he's the fucking demon. I'm sorry. But he transforms into
Don't be sorry.
No, I mean, he's the demon, and Paul is the star.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he prances and he does his stuff and he owns it. And I don't think they could do that not in makeup.
Right.
I don't think they could feel comfortable playing and performing, not being a superhero or being an alter ego.
Right.
Right.
And it was, it's a brilliant thing that they did, not knowing that anything would come of it. They got booed, they got thrown off of shows. They spent almost 4 years barely making it, and almost until Alive, they were almost going to quit. Okay, they were almost run its course, and then when Alive came, it just blew up. And Bill Coyne was a great mentor and a crazy guy. And, which is, you have to be. One thing about managing KISS, you got to be crazier than they are, which is really difficult. But you got to be crazier than them to understand it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're kind of all out on the spectrum somewhere.
Right.
That's which I think we do, because we don't focus where people focus. We fish in deep water. We go way out there. We don't focus on the middle. So that's
Lee.
I have another non-KISS question. I was curious about your experience on that super group. There were some volatile people on there, and as also working with Motley Crue, how do you harness those personalities?
You really don't. You
can't.
No, it's impossible. One thing, logic never comes into play. Okay? So if you think that logic is going to come into illogical people, then you're wrong. So again, you got to be a little crazier than them. So therefore, they kind of understand where you're coming from, because all they wanted to do was be the biggest fucking band in the world. That's why bands get together. They want to, in their mind, they didn't come and say, well, I hope I could play 2 days a week, and then I'm going to work at Pottery Barn until I become the manager of Pottery Barn. They fucking want to be the biggest band in the world, and they want to go, and they want 20,000 kids screaming, and that's my job, is to get them from where they're at to that spot. Okay, which is just making shit up and doing it. You know what I mean? And not thinking about it. Going to do it. If it's worth doing, overdo it. And it's not that difficult. But anyways, the Motley Crue guys and everything else, they were great because they were Motley Crue. They didn't care about radio. They didn't know anything about radio. Nikki never came to me and went, well, I was looking at the Billboard charts, and I wouldn't even know what Billboard was. They have no idea. I never introduced them to radio people because they torture them. They wouldn't know who they were. They light them on fire or something. So I would never introduce them to anybody. People go, hey, we got to
nobody.
meet them. No. They go, we got to bring them backstage. Let's have dinner. I go, no, you don't want to do that, bud. You want to stay as far away from that camp as possible. Stay out of there.
That's funny.
And it was really, as crazy as it sounds, it was an amazing time in my life.
I bet.
It was.
What's the craziest thing they did to you?
Oh no, I can't.
Like a prank.
No. I'll tell you what. I heard you tell a story, Doc, on one of the KISS crews about Tommy Lee in a hotel.
Yeah.
And did he literally take a shit down?
Yeah. But that was always,
what?
That wasn't terrible. The terrible part was that people saw him, so they called the police, and they went to his room, but they went to the room next door and they arrested Mick Mars.
Oh,
no. That was the terrible
Mick.
part.
Poor Mick.
And poor Mick. And poor Mick got arrested.
That's crazy. Hey, Steve, you got another question?
I mean, I don't think I have a question. I just, to kind of get back and put a little bit more muscle into the importance of Doc Mcghee and the KISS thing. That, Doc, we have a history together. I met you for the first time, Bon Jovi and 38 Special at the Meadowlands Arena in 1986. And it's gone on, our relationship, for, almost 40 years now. And the one thing I could tell all the listeners out there who've never met Doc, he is the most consistent, nicest rock manager and person in rock and roll that you will ever meet, because from that time he remained consistent in the, remember when we toured with you with TRIXTER on the Scorpions tour in 1991? Doc was there. Every band that Doc works with, he is with them, whether it was Bon Jovi, Motley Crue. And then, getting back to the KISS thing, the one thing I wanted to say was, there was, when I knew that KISS was reuniting back in 94, 95 after the Unplugged thing, and I didn't know you were going to be managing them. I think PJ and I were discussing it, and I said, there's only one guy on earth that should be managing KISS on this reunion tour, and it's Doc Mcghee. And and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know how I feel about you, but there's definitely something to be said about your, starting out in the 80s with 70s with Pat Travers, and then taking on Motley, and then the huge, of course, groundbreaking success of Bon Jovi that set you up. You are the only person, and still to this day, who could be the guy, just like what you said, to be crazier than them, but yet 2 steps smarter than all them, to know how to get those personalities to be able to align together and be able to have the common vision that, especially in the 95, 96 reunion tour that you guys did, because I was there for a lot of those shows, and all the behind the scenes guys who were working there, who worked with us on the Scorpions tour, Rocco and Tim Rosner. And, I always tip my hat to you, Doc, for being,
thank you. That's very kind of you.
The greatest rock and roll manager there ever was and there ever will be.
Well, there's been a lot of really good ones. So.
Oh, I know.
That's awesome. Doc, so there's been talk about like a Bohemian Rhapsody style movie. Is that still in the works?
Well, okay, we have a Netflix movie that will be coming this year. Hopefully it'll be finished this year.
Yay.
So we've been doing this. That's why I don't like the movie business. Because it fucking takes forever to do a movie. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's like tortures you. It tortures you. But we've got it to a point now to where the script's done, the deal's done. We're ready to greenlight the movie. We're ready to go to casting. So yes, there will be a kind of a Bohemian Rhapsody. It's really it's simple. It's about how they got together up to Alive, up to Cadillac High.
Oh, neat.
When the band blew up, and that's really the essence of the movie, is these 4 guys that came together to meet Bill Aucoin and to go through listen. there's something special about before the zeros when it was fun. Okay, when people wrote songs for out of their heart, which that played pay toilets and used their own change, ran around and put their fucking posters up and did everything and stood there and did flyers and got rejected and thrown out, and they just fought through it. Okay, that to me is interesting. After the band blows up, what do? You say they don't like the color blue in their jet. Like, okay. Yeah, they didn't like. They have to face east in a hotel. Shit like that. I mean, who cares about that? The real interesting part is getting to that point. Mm-hmm. And so that's what this movie is focused on.
That's cool. Sonny?
Yeah, Doc, from your chair, like, pop will always be protected, but
sure.
Is there going to ever be another Kiss, a Zeppelin, a Who? Is rock ever going to be that big since it's so accessible kind of everywhere now?
Well,
like, will you ever have a big band like that again?
Yes. The answer is yes. There will be. And the people will decide. Okay. The thing that I think has made our industry different is the fact that in the 90s, 80s and 90s, we went from entrepreneurs that were forward thinkers in the music business, the Ahmet Ertegans of the world, the David Geffens, the Mo Austins, and all those great record guys, to corporate world of bean counters and everybody doing all this stuff and turning this into, now nobody watches a band. They watch TikTok and they watch, so if you have a hamster hanging out of your ass during the song, you get a couple of and they sign you to a singles deal because they need market share in streaming. Okay, so so they've lost the context of what the music business ever was. Now it never will be the same. Okay, but it still is about word of mouth. There still is, the classic rock bands have Kiss included, Queen, Aerosmith, TRIXTER, everybody that has been. You've seen a resurgence of people listening to your music because they have this new model of streaming. So they don't have to find a tape in their brother's car that they had, or a CD, which they don't even know what the fuck that is. But anyways, if they did have it, that they could play it and listen to it. Now they can just go, and if you talk to anybody that's 15 to 30 years old, or 12 to 30 years old, you go, so what do you listen to? They all say the same thing. I listen to everything. Well, do you listen to country? Yeah, there's a couple country things I listen to. Do you listen to hip hop? Yeah, there's some hip hop stuff. You listen to Adele? Yeah, I listen to Adele. So it's not like it's never going to be the way it was where everybody's in the section, like, except for hardcore and metal. That has stayed pretty consistent in the sense of the Iron Maiden fans and the Metallica fans, and when you get into whether it's Slipknot or whether you get into any of that stuff, that's big. That those people all come. I mean, we have Pantera out now, and everybody's out to see them because now that's focus. So I do think that it will come. There will be that band that connects. That's all it takes. See, when I tell people, yeah, I had a lot of success in the 80s because I had a tipping point. Now, yes, was I a good handicapper? Meaning, can I pick the right horses to ride? Yes. Okay. But I had a tipping point, which was called MTV. Okay. And MTV was a cultural experience that people watched and kids watched. So, and all my bands were on MTV. That was it. You know, so I mean, Motley Crue may not have got where they were, probably. Bon Jovi, all of them, Scorps, Skids, Kiss, Guns N' Roses, all of them would have had a very difficult time without MTV.
Right.
So I think that the new mediums that are coming in, the one thing is about being a star. You have to remember, we didn't lose rock bands or this type of rock band, when you're saying rock, whatever that means, but we didn't lose that I would say more glam bands to corporate world. We lost it when Pearl Jam came in, when Kurt Cobain came in, and so even though he's a huge Kiss fan, he brought a different element that people went, oh, okay, there is no production. We don't have to do production. We don't have to do this. And now it isn't about having fun, which that's all we had was fun. This was now talking about, as a kid, what you're going through and things that nature, and it got serious. Okay, and it really, really killed all the Motley, Bon Jovi, score, all of them, to most of Poisons and everything else all went away to a certain extent. And that's why in 1995, at the height of grunge, I said, I think this is bullshit. Everybody wants to have fun. Fucking weird. I'm going to put four guys in makeup standing on the world with their hands in the air and blow shit up. And everybody went, you're fucking crazy. I went, I know. What to do? And I said, the show is going to be Tiger Stadium. Now, they couldn't do a theater at that time.
Right.
But I didn't care. I knew we could do Tiger Stadium. Mm-hmm. So I just went, okay, we took the Intrepid and had Conan O'Brien, and we did a press conference on the Intrepid in New York, the aircraft carrier. Yes. We played 4 songs and announced one show. First time they've been together in 17 years in makeup, and we sold it out in 20 minutes. And the rest is history. We're here, 28 years later, whatever.
That's crazy.
So it's crazy, but it just shows you that yes, there will be a band that hits, that connects to people. Okay, there will be a rock band that connects to people. Absolutely.
Joey?
Yeah, Doc, back to that Rock the Nation tour that I did with you guys. That was the first real tour with Tommy and Eric. And I remember, thinking, and even like the vibe around whether it was Kiss fans or just the crew or whoever it was, really, I think going into it, not sure if this going to work. It's going to be fully accepted. I know you did a little bit with Eric already. You had done a little bit with Tommy, but this was the first one, Tommy and Eric together for the first time, full tour. What was the mindset back then? Was it, oh my God, is this going to work, or this has to work?
Well, I think that my thinking is, if you build a show, they will come. One thing about Kiss, whether you like Kiss or not, whether you know much about Kiss or not, if you want to be entertained, you will go see Kiss. That's it. It's like Cirque du Soleil. Okay? You might not know the song, but fuck, you're having a great time. Okay? That's what Kiss brings to the table. Okay? So during that Rock the Nation tour, there's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of people saying this is bullshit. Ace and Peter aren't in the band, all this kind of stuff. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I look at those. I go, 15,000 people a night, wrong. they came here to have a great experience. They paid the money to come and see a band and have fun. Okay. And that's what we gave them. You know what I mean? We give them a great experience and they'll come. If somebody pays $100 for a ticket and we give them a $200 show, they'll be back.
And you had to know right off the bat, because that tour did well. They were selling out almost that whole tour.
Yeah.
Was it a little bit of a sigh of relief? Like, okay, we weren't positive, but yep, this is going to work.
No, it was going to work, and it worked. That's all.
No.
We didn't,
Lee?
not much to think about.
Wow. Yeah, I cried at my first reunion show, but anyway, that was just me. I did. But anyway, as you can see, a lot of us collect KISS stuff. Have you picked up any cool souvenirs along your ride? Like from, I know you might not collect KISS, but like some neat.
No, I have one thing about KISS, okay? I can have a CEO of a Fortune 500 company talking to me about some other deal or whatever in my office, and I'll have a snowflake ball or something, a KISS on my desk, and they'll pick it up and go, "Can I have that?" And no other band, and I've had major bands in my whole life, has this happened. Okay,
right.
No other bands has this happened. Okay,
They can't. Yep.
Because KISS is an anomaly. Okay, it's not thought out. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not, Tommy's not trying to play licks like Tommy might want to play. He plays what KISS does, what KISS sounds like.
Right.
Eric doesn't play shit that he wants to play. He plays the way KISS is supposed to play, and we sound like KISS. We don't sound like Pearl Jam. We don't sound like Foo Fighters. We don't write a song and go, "Wow, this is gonna be like Adele." Okay, we write KISS shit. Okay, that's what we write, and so that's what they go in, and that's what they play, and Tommy looks as much like Ace as Ace did in the 70s, and Eric the same way, and the songs and the production and the thing is just bigger and better. That's all it is. It's a bigger and better version. People don't know what they like what they know. Okay, that's what they do. So they want to come and see. That's why all the bands that are big do what they do. That's why Gaga and everybody else will come, because they know that they'll go to the show and they'll have a great time. That's all people want to do, is be entertained. We don't care about critics that get in for free and tell you, well, it's 4 chords and bad lyrics. Well, okay. Well, we play 250 shows in 59 countries around the world, sold out. Okay? And kids stand in line and they do everything. They buy every poster and they buy everything that you could possibly get from KISS. And if a critic doesn't like KISS, okay. All right? Not everybody has to like KISS. Who cares? Okay? The idea is that we're there for the people. We're out there trying to do what we do. We're in the entertainment business. It's what we do. Entertain people.
Doc, so we have we've had a couple of box sets come out in the last couple of years. Destroyer, Creatures of the Night. Is this something that's going to keep going?
Yeah, I listen. As you know, KISS has never been short on selling people shit. Okay? As you can see behind you guys, there's a testament of what we do. But something, it's great because, and people say to me, they go, "Well, Jesus, how do you come up with these things? How do you come up with the strategy to?" I go, it's really well thought out. It's actually very high tech. What we do is we find stuff that people buy, and we put KISS on it.
Rocket science.
It's simple.
Well,
Fucking unbelievable.
It's funny. Okay, but
you go on it.
People get buried. People
Right.
get buried. People
right.
get buried. So what do? We have
Made a
KISS
KISS
casket.
Kiss casket. Okay, but I guess
Kiss
it
urn.
can't be. I know that it sounds simple, right? But
Yeah.
like obviously the band is like okay, so the sound off the soundboard stuff has been coming out. It's been successful. How much? There's got to be input. Like it can't be just like I'll just grab any show, throw KISS on it. But yes, that's what I'm saying. It's got to have a lot more thought into. Hey, I think the fans would love this.
Well, that's what we do, and we work with Universal on different things and different packaging, and we always liked it from KISS. One thing I did like about KISS in the '70s was the packaging, with Love Gun and the gun and everything else. And I think that's what's missing in all the music.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that their music is so fucking precious. Okay.
Miss opening that album.
I don't get it. Give me something to where I can feel it and touch it, and I can go, wow, I have this. It's a collectible. I loved the Kissery, the 440-page book.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the big one that we have.
Monster.
The Monster book.
Yeah.
The Monster book is beautiful. It's beautifully done. And so that's all we try to do is we try to put quality stuff out for people that like to collect KISS. Most of the stuff people don't even unwrap. They keep it all. They keep it pristine, and I think that KISS was really one of the first collectible bands that really started to be collecting, stuff in the '70s.
Yes.
And so people started, when they put blood in the comic books.
Right.
They put their own blood in the comic books. All the stuff that they did where you couldn't see them without makeup, so they would wear bags over their heads or garbage bins with eyes and stuff like that.
Right.
Where you could. I love all that shit. I think that stuff is amazing because people love that stuff.
Absolutely.
And they'd never get away with that today. It was such amazing time. I'm so glad I experienced it.
But that's the same thing. All our generational experience in music, to me, has been an amazing ride for me.
It really has.
Absolutely.
For me, it's been crazy.
So I know that we've got you. We've had you for a little over 50 minutes, and I know that you were gonna hang out with us for about an hour. Before we go, I wanted to ask you. I had the opportunity on one of the KISS cruises to ask Gene a bunch of rapid fire questions,
right.
And they're just quick one answer questions. And I just wanted to see if that was okay if I go ahead and throw these at you.
No.
Okay.
Of course
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Of course you can.
Let me tell you.
The world, Doc. What's wrong with you?
The only thing that would have been better is you put a fuck in front of it. That would have been so great.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Poor Joe. Joe.
Okay. All right. Here we go. You ready? Here we go. Band you wish you managed.
Rage Against the Machine.
Oh. Favorite musical act when you were a kid?
Spooky Tooth.
Okay. Favorite actor?
Al Pacino.
Good choice.
Favorite movie?
Vacation with Chevy Chase.
Yes.
All right. I like that movie. Your favorite meal?
Pasta. Italian.
Any kind?
Yeah, almost anything. Yeah.
Almost anything. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Neither. I'm not a Star Wars or Star Trek guy.
Oh, really? No sci-fi at all?
I'm not a sci-fi guy.
So what about King Kong or Godzilla?
Oh, well, King Kong.
Oh, wow. Golf or fishing?
Golf.
Kiss song you're tired of?
Rock and Roll All Night.
Really?
What?
Kiss song you'll never be tired of?
Oh, God. I like Detroit Rock City. I think Detroit Rock City would probably be one of my.
Okay. Who do you think is the better team, the Cowboys or the Giants?
Cowboys.
Yeah!
We're never going to hear
Hell
the
with
end
you,
of this.
Casada.
That is an ongoing thing on our show.
Oh boy.
That's an ongoing thing on our show. Two more questions. One, after so we have another Kiss cruise. Is that going to keep going?
We think so.
Okay.
We think so.
All right. And the final thing, do you have a message for the Kiss Army, the people that watch this show?
Yeah, I think that everybody should really look forward to what's going to come. It's with the technology that we have, I think you're going to see this manifest into something completely crazy, completely mind-blowing experience. So just stay tuned.
Right. When we get to the final show, Doc, will it be one of those things where it's going to be like, we know that you've come to see the band a bunch of times on this final tour. This will be different.
Don't think so. Don't. I think that this isn't the last waltz. Okay. KISS didn't open. I mean, didn't back up 20 different artists. Okay. Actually, most artists open for KISS. If you look and you see the list of people from Rush to AC/DC to Scorpions to Bon Jovi to everybody opened for KISS.
Trickster.
Right.
TRIXTER. Everybody
Cheap
opened.
Trick.
Everybody opened. Cheap Trick to everybody open for KISS. So I think that there'll certainly be things that will be tribute orientated in other parts of in other shows, but not in the main show. I think the main show is really what it is. It is that show. So there'll be some crazy stuff will happen, but it will be KISS. And it'll be KISS centric. It won't be, it's not like everybody's going to come up and Eddie Vedder will sing one song and
Right.
But it's not going to be the typical thing like that.
Right. Okay. Well, does anybody have any? We got a couple more minutes. Anybody else have a quick, Joey?
Doc, one last chance. It feels like a good opportunity to reveal where that last show is going to be. No,
Not going to happen.
Come on.
Come on.
Not going to happen. But everybody can probably pretty much guess at some point where this
Right.
is gonna happen. So we're looking forward to it. We'll be announcing probably in the next 10 days of where it's going to be and stuff. We have a lot of stuff coming. We have a lot of great between the movie and different things that we're doing. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a great year for KISS. We get to play some places we never played before. We're playing Manaus, which is in the Amazon. They can't figure out why the fuck I booked them there, but I wanted to get them out.
Sounds good. That's all.
It sounds great, man. We're in the Amazon. What can I tell you?
And there will be more American dates.
Yeah. There'll be a few. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on and doing this with us. We really do appreciate it. We know how busy you are.
Well,
and it's amazing that you came on.
Thanks, Doc.
Listen, thank you guys, and good luck with everything.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, you
Thank
take it
you.
easy.
Thanks again, Doc.
Love you.
All right.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I don't know if you could hear me. Something's wrong with my camera. I'm not sure what it is. Let's see. All right. I had a problem with my camera. I don't know what happened. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you thought that it was worth the wait. Let me know real quick if you guys could hear me. I'm having to use a different camera altogether. Thank you guys. This was recorded just a couple of days ago on Thursday, so we should be getting the new dates and everything soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No show this Sunday coming up because Joey and I will be on the Jericho cruise. Man, I can't thank you guys enough. 400 shows. You know, I always wanted to do something special, and although, of course, you know, you can't put anything above having a family and stuff like that, but this really comes close. Thank you guys. That was show 400 kind of, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and tell you that if you guys could share this, that would be great. Go on the Facebook page, go on the YouTube page, tell everybody we interviewed Doc. I hope you weren't disappointed. Share it, like it, do everything you can. I think the next episode, I'll tell you what the topic is actually going to be a little different. It's going to be the top 10 records that changed our lives. Gene recently wrote, it was in an article. He answered those that question, top 10 records, and we're going to do it too. Some Kiss, some other things, I'm sure. And you know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcasts. And I want to make sure I do this. All these Kiss podcasts out there that have always supported us, and non-Kiss ones, from the Kiss Room to Kisstory Science Theater, the Podfather. You guys know who that is. Ken Mills. Matt Porter. Decibel Geek, Kiss FAQ, they're here. They've always supported us when we do this since the beginning when we started doing this show. And we're going to keep doing it as long as we can. And we love you. You know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcast. You're going to hear the commercials for all the ones that we love right after this in 3, 2, 1. Peace.